I feel oddly pleased with this movie.
Me too. Pleased is a good word.
Yeah, pleased is a good word. It's a Paul Walker action movie. What do you expect when you go into a Paul Walker action movie?
Yeah. This video in loving memory of Paul Walker.
Oh, that movie, In Loving Memory of Paul Walker. And I don't know, I would feel like if it were any other actor, if that movie was dedicated to them, they would take love as a four-letter word. But I don't know, maybe Paul Walker would have really appreciated it. I don't know. I like to think he would in his own way. I think Paul Walker was one of those dudes that just knew the kind of movies he was making, and
yeah, I've never had any problem with Paul Walker.
Like me,
why would I?
I know. You know? Like the guy Paul Walker was one of those actors who knew, one, what kind of movies he made, and two, just knew like who
his audience was, and.
Yeah. And he never tried to reach beyond that. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. He knew what he was, and he never tried to be anything other than that.
Yes.
And you could say that, but by actors like Danny Trejo, and for the most part, crap, I'm blanking on his name. Never
those types of
actors. But yeah, like those types of actors. They know who they are. And
well, I don't think you don't see Paul Walker like in his main movies as Danny Trejo though, where he just kind of shows up and it's like, yeah, that's Paul Walker again.
No, but like Danny Trejo is just like he never tries to make a movie where he's not a Mexican gangster or being awesome. I mean, it's not
typecast. Yes.
And well, yeah, there's a difference between typecast and knowing what you're good at.
I would say that most typecast people, okay, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of typecast people probably are aware that they're good at what they do because they're typecast in that role.
Yeah, but
it doesn't mean that's all they can do, but they certainly are at least good at that.
Yeah, they're not going to argue against a paycheck. Yeah. And there's a sort of workman-like appeal to those types of actors. And that's why you'll never see me like bag on actors like Bruce Campbell or even like Paul Walker.
Absolutely.
It's not like that weird Luke Wilson movie like years back where he played like a serial killer.
I haven't seen that.
I know, it's the weirdest fucking thing. Luke Wilson played a serial killer in like, what was it? Like Vacancy or something like that, or I forgot the title of the movie, but it was the most surreal casting choice. And I think he learned something by doing that movie. Stick with the fluff, baby. Stick with the fluff. I haven't seen
it, but I'll take it. I can imagine. Brick Mansions.
Brick Mansions, the last movie that was completed. That Paul Walker completed.
Yeah.
If I remember right, Fast and Furious 7 was not. He had not finished shooting that before he died.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna have to
halfway through it or so,
like edit the movie around it or something like that. I don't know.
Hopefully not too much CG.
Or like, oh, good, they're gonna CG Paul Walker's face.
They might do that. I wouldn't put it past them. They might do that.
Did they not see X-Men Origins Wolverine? Did they not see what they did to Patrick Stewart? They turned him into Mr. Clean. Okay.
We really don't want Paul Walker's actual last movie in theater.
I don't know.
Actual last movie to have a CG.
Yeah, CG. Like I would if I was the people behind Fast and Furious 7, I would say like scrap what we're doing, go back to the drawing board. He's going to die off screen because there's no way that one. I don't think his last movie should be a Fast and Furious movie. I think it should be this movie because this is Paul Walker incarnate, where he's just awesome because he's just awesome, and the movie kind of tailors itself around it.
Yeah.
It's, if you've ever seen District B13 before, it's basically an American sanitized version of that. That's the review. It doesn't.
Fuck the government.
Fuck the government and.
Fuck Whitey. Fuck the government.
The plot centers around a a district of Detroit that is so crime-ridden that it's been walled off from the rest of Detroit. And already, that proves to be a more faithful adaptation of RoboCop than the reboot was.
I know the opening was like...
Like, they were more faithful to RoboCop than RoboCop was in 10 seconds.
A lot of movies are. But
God damn that fucking movie.
But yeah, so this movie was fun. It was entertaining. It was comical.
It was.
Like, there's a certain point where yeah, we'll get to it. It's just start from the ground up.
Yeah, starting from the ground up. So we got our setting, and the RZA, that's his name, the RZA, the Shizza, the Wu-Tang Clan. He plays
Master of Medusa.
He is playing an arms dealer who is also trafficking drugs within the Brick Mansions, which is the suburb that's been walled off from the rest of Detroit. And he becomes the target of crap. I'm trying to remember the actor's name is. He's a French parkour artist who I think that I don't know if this is his first film. I don't remember seeing.
I don't remember the character's name. I don't remember the actor's name, unfortunately.
No, it's like Lilo or something like that. Like Lino.
Yeah, let's just call him Lilo.
Yeah, let's just call him Lilo. Because, like
Leno.
Let's just. There's no point in memorizing these characters' names,
no.
But like this.
This was just one of those movies where I just didn't care.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that I wasn't enjoying the movie for its, action scenes and its, comedy, unintentional comedy, but
the movie doesn't ask you to pay attention to the character motivations.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't want you to, really.
And like,
not particularly.
The most hilarious thing about this character, though, is that he's basically coerced into the plot by the fact that, that the RZA kidnapped his ex-girlfriend, not his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. And then by the end of the movie, they're back together again. And there was like no scene of them kind of like, hey, whatever differences we had.
Backstory doesn't really exist in this movie. It's touched on that Paul Walker's dad was, he was on the scene and he got, killed by the RZA and his guys, and now he's out for revenge.
And that's about as far as it goes.
Well, yes, and then it starts off with him, after establishing the RZA is a badass cooker. He's a badass
cooker.
He's a badass dinner maker. He's a badass chef.
I would took you cooker. A cooker, huh?
A cooker. I don't know. I'm reaching for some kind of.
Well, he's a chef and he has like this gigantic cleaver that he just chops peppers with whenever he's trying to have an intimidating moment with his subordinates.
No, but I don't know if he, sees on his cameras that the guys are coming up, and then he gets his ingredients out and starts, getting going. Like,
it's like whenever he needs to have his bad guy scene, he's like, oh shit, let me chop a bell pepper.
Yeah.
But
one time made a mistake and got out the onion, and that was really awkward.
Oh yeah, like guys. I don't mean to be weeping. I'm trying to be scary, guys. But the whole thing starts when Lilo, when Lilo basically busts up a drug deal, and the RZA sends Rick Ross after him. Or no, like the actor's name, he calls him like, what was it, Gucci Boy? I think that was the name on the credits, Gucci Boy. Okay. But he looks like Rick Ross, and he fails, and this starts this whole tumbling snowball of a plot where he's arrested and put into jail for Paul Walker to break out to go back into Brick Mansions to save Detroit. to save Brick Mansions from a nuclear device that the RZA had lifted. I
love hearing you say this.
Yeah, I know.
I really appreciate the plot. I really.
Okay, first of all right, let's halt everything here. Let's halt everything and talk about the fact that they lifted a neutron bomb. Lifted a neutron bomb from a delivery, like an armored truck. Where the fuck was that neutron bomb supposed to go? In Detroit.
Got me.
Well, it turns out that like they planted that neutron bomb so that they could detonate it in brick mansions and then just
But
like,
you
kill
see,
it.
there isn't much explanation because
Yeah, no.
let's get to the scene with Paul Walker being briefed, as it were.
Oh yeah. So the briefing for Paul
God,
Walker.
I love this.
Yeah, the briefing for Paul Walker to go into brick mansions and save the day
Let's just
is
do this.
save the day. Is
be like-
all
it
right.
was
I'll
like-
be Paul Walker. You be the mayor of Detroit.
You see, the problem is that this is going on in brick mansions. I mean, who would want to go to brick mansions?
I go into brick mansions.
Anyone? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you're sure. Why don't you do that?
Okay. And scene. They knew what kind of movie they
Yeah.
were making. Everyone involved knew what kind of movie they were making. So he gets planted with Lilo to bust them out of prison to go back into brick mansions to disarm the neutron bomb. Meanwhile, the RZA kidnaps Lilo's ex-girlfriend, brings him back into brick mansions, where apparently he has the border patrol on his payroll, so he can filter in and out any kind of everything. He's an arms dealer. They have like missile launching silos. They got all kinds of drugs and
Oh my god!
sniper
I
rifles.
just figured out the backstory for Lilo. You notice his parkour skills.
No, Lilo. Oh yeah.
He had those awesome parkour skills, Jackie Chan all over the place. That was kind of fun to watch, actually.
Yeah, it was. I
think the guy probably did do a lot of his stunts.
Like, if there's one thing about this movie that you have to give credit for, is that they know where its strengths lie, and they knew how to highlight
yeah.
it.
Oh, and his voice was actually dubbed in.
Yeah.
Kinda, at least in
well,
certain
no,
parts.
I think at certain points there's some painfully
Yeah.
obvious ADR going on.
That was alright.
Like when Lilo's back is turned to the camera, you hear in a completely different intonation, like, "Get it back here, you asshole!"
Yeah.
It's like that sounded like nothing that came out of the actor's mouth, huh?
Is there a ghost? Yeah. No, so I think I got the backstory. So he's an asshole parkourer.
Oh God,
Because this is what's behind the walls of Divergent.
that would already
Brick Mansions is what's beyond the wall.
Brick Mansions is a better Divergent than Divergent.
Yes,
was.
that is exactly the same thought we simultaneously had when we were right into this film.
Because all right,
They even have the zip line.
they even have the zip line scenes. I mean, if there was all right, let me to drive home once and for all how bad Divergent is.
Yeah.
A Paul Walker movie that wasn't even trying to be Divergent is a better Divergent movie than Divergent. For the sake of the fact that all the characters had clear-cut motivations.
5 minutes, smoked it. Watch 5 minutes of the beginning of this movie. It's better than wasting 2 hours.
2.5
hours of
Divergent.
Yes, diverge that shit, man. Watch Brick Mansions instead. It's, it's fun popcorn flick.
It's it doesn't ask too much of you, but here's where it gets like really off the rails insane though. So you're in the roller coaster you're in the movie's roller coaster. You're seeing scenes where there's car chases, and you shelve away the fact that this is a militarized zone that's been cut off from the rest of the world, and yet they get new cars. New Detroit-made cars, by the way. Actually, there's this hilarious scene where they have the RZA by gunpoint, and they're trying to escape through his GT Ford 500, and he says, "Not my Mustang,
Not my baby."
not my baby." And so, literally surrounding the Mustang, this $50,000 Mustang, are Lamborghinis. I saw a Murcielago in there. I saw one Ferrari.
Yeah.
I saw a Ferrari, and you're thinking, so your baby is the $50,000 muscle car versus that $500,000 Murcielago. I don't know.
You know your car is way better than I do.
Yeah, they're like
That's
that
not saying much.
$500,000 Lamborghini off to the side. So you know who's funding this movie? It's shot in Detroit automakers.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that every car that was awesome, you could clearly see, like, it was Ford made or Chevy made or GM made.
And any chance they get, he's like, "Whoa, what you do pulling up here? Take that round to the back."
And
Take the goods to the back.
the best part about that is, like, when they peel off in the GT500, everyone else in this room full of $500,000 sports cars, supercars, they try to chase them in, like, 30-year-old Chevys.
I can tell you why.
Oh, yeah, of course, because they're going to crash them.
Yeah.
So I know, but, like, I'm thinking of the character's motivations, like, well, there goes our meal ticket. We better chase after him. Do I go in the 220-mile-an-hour Lamborghini, or do I go into the 30-year-old Oldsmobile? Oldsmobile!
No, the other ones are off limits. Because,
Yeah.
you know, they're all derizzles. The rizzes.
But
Don't want to be, you know, chopped up like...
so you're kind of shelving away all, like, these stupid moments because it's a
Yes.
stupid movie. I mean, you're gonna have you're just gonna be a sourpuss if you're gonna sit there and, like, but then the movie just, like, out of nowhere has, like, well, not really out of nowhere, but, like, has this fucking weird turn where they have the bomb strapped to a missile that they're going to launch into main Detroit, holding Detroit for $30 million, right? Holding him for $30 million. And they defuse it by realizing that the code that they're supposed to punch into the missile to disarm it is an area code, and that area code is Brick Mansion. Okay, that is so contrived.
I know.
But, you know,
this whole film was so wonderfully contrived.
so wonderfully contrived, and it takes Lilo beating up Paul Walker to realize, like, hey, you're being played here by Detroit.
Speaking of Lilo and Paul Walker scenes, what was the best scene of this movie?
Oh, the best scene of the movie where they have this this random fight scene to decide who gets to drive the van that they get to escape prison in.
Yeah, it is literally like Liam Neeson, like in, I don't know, what was The Gray or something, like establishing who's the master of fire against the wolves, like, mine, fire, mine. But no, it's like
They have, like, this caveman dialogue.
you know,
My van.
tackle, my van. He's like, you know, he gets in the van, and then the guy's like, gets up, dusts himself off, my van.
And then, like,
Charge in, pull him out. They go at it again. My van!
there's like 3 minutes this wastes just by
My van!
my van.
My van!
My van.
Ugh.
My van.
And then he gets in there. Yeah, but kept mug camera shot. My van.
My van. Basically, it's a fight to see who has to ride bitch.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, Paul Walker doesn't ride bitch.
Oh,
Lilo rides bitch.
Lilo rides bitch. And I thought that was going to be the silliest fight scene in the movie, but no.
Nope.
The silliest fight scene belongs to when they have the two gang up on the gigantic Lithuanian guy, or whatever this nondescript nationality this guy is.
I don't know.
I don't know what nationality is, but he's about
Everybody in this movie, pretty much, who is
in brick mansions.
who are supposed to root for is basically not white, except for Paul Walker. That's basically how it goes.
Oh, like, yeah. Like, everyone in brick mansions is. I don't think there was a
It's the
single.
rule of thumb.
I don't think there was a single white guy in brick mansions.
Nope.
There was, like, Asian people, there were black people, there were
There
Hispanic
was
people,
Hispanic people,
but there were no white people in Detroit. Like, I could understand, like, a huge black population in Detroit. And
the contrivance continues.
And the Hispanic people I can understand, but really?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Asian people in Brick Mansion?
It was silly.
Yeah, I know.
Silly.
I mean, there was literally
every one of the government officials, they were white to the T.
Yeah, I know.
Of course. And so it was just kind of like with some of those rap videos,
Yeah. But if you went by this movie's logic, there are literally 13 times more Asians living in Detroit than there are white people.
Yes.
So, but they're ganging up on the gigantic nondescript nationality dude. All we know is that he's 6.5 feet tall and probably shit's bigger than these two.
Yes.
And what do they do to defeat him?
Not guns.
No.
I think they lost their guns at that point.
Yeah. So they decide to fisticuffs.
Yeah.
So they get like these tethers.
I think the preview showed a little bit of this.
A little
bit. Not the parts.
Not the parts where it gets ridiculous, where they take tethers, wrap around his arms, and then like Tasmanian Devil, just wrap around him, like
Not quite at fast forward speed, but
Yeah.
you wished that they did.
Wished it did.
Because that's exactly what it is.
It's like, so they run around him like the maypole, and then Lilo grabs a cinder block, drops it on his fucking head, and swear to God, there is a sound bit where you hear Tweety Bird sound. And then
I can't whistle, but
yeah, like, and then he collapses. He doesn't see stars. He doesn't see little birds flying around his head. But they put the sound clip in.
yes.
So remember how we were all gushing about the Ava Green face in 300?
No, mostly he was.
Oh, I was because she was putting on this pouty look.
The Avril Lavigne look.
When something doesn't go her way. But here, so Lilo and Paul Walker are being held at gunpoint while negotiations are made in brick mansions, and so they have the biggest doofus they could possibly find in brick mansions to guard him.
Yeah.
And then they do the whole sick man routine to try
Oh
to.
my god, no! I think he was white.
Holy crap, he was white.
Yeah.
The other white
The
guy
only white person was a giant doofus.
was like Captain Doofy. Captain Doofy.
Isn't that great? I love it.
Yeah. So, like,
Oh.
he's told, like, all right, their lives, until the money is transferred, their lives are more important than yours. So if they die, you die.
So what does he do? He picks out his gun and aims it at them. Gotcha.
Gotcha. So Lilo tries to plays the sick man routine, and this guy just puts on this face like he just dropped a cake. What's going on? What's going on?
Lilo, yeah, he's like, okay, Paul Walker. What the frick is his name? I don't even remember. He's like, Paul Walker, I got this. I got this.
I got
And then what the doofus?
And then the Doofy just kind of, Captain Doofy just leads them out of the room, and then
He's like, what?
what's going on here? I don't. I know it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All it takes is a face. I mean, that right there is the face of the movie. Not Paul Walker, not Lilo, that random Captain Doofy. But when it builds to a climax, they're about to launch, and they realize that the input code is...
Oh yeah, they have Lilo's girlfriend tied to the missile.
Oh yeah.
I was almost wondering if, after the Tweety Bird scene, if they were going to actually have the missile launch with her on top of it.
Oh yeah.
And, like, it's like some kind of weird pin-up pose or something. And...
Yeah, let's Looney Tunes this
Yeah.
shit. Why don't we leave her on some railroad tracks and then have some piano playing in the background?
But that's what would have. Yes, spoilers. Doesn't go off.
Of course.
If it would have gone off, then it would have been whoa.
No. It'll be like the end of True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger launching.
You're fired.
No. But no. When they realize that, holy crap, the area code is where this is
That's my house.
That the deactivation code for this place. And that's when RZA does an about face, a face turn, and he says, I didn't kill your father. They just told you I killed your father. And Paul Walker's like,
and scantily clad.
We'll get to her. But this is important. Yeah. Paul Walker, no, it isn't true.
Oh God,
he's like, you killed my father. No, I'm not your father, but I didn't kill him. I'm not your father.
I'm not going to try to sell that on you, and I don't think.
No. But the RZA literally said, like, I did a lot of bad things.
That's what I told God.
I did a lot of bad things, but I never killed your father. And then what did they all do once they
wrap it up?
Once they decided not to put in the code and just let the timer run out, and it turns out it's just nothing. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Which, that was a huge gamble on their part. Who's to say that they wouldn't... Okay, first of all...
I was, expecting the normal thing, which is, cut the red, cut the green.
Yeah, I know, but that wouldn't... That wouldn't fly. All right, first of all, if the mayor's plan was to neutron bomb that section of Detroit, and they had the presence of mind to put it on a timer, why would he not let the timer explode the neutron device as like a failsafe?
Yeah.
But anyway, they realize that they've been played, so what do? They go, like, 200, 300 people from under the RZA's payroll escape out of brick mansions and then confronts the mayor. If they can always do that, why are they in brick mansions?
It's a cut. Basically, I think it was Lilo who said this. No, or was it? It was Paul Walker. He says, he's like, well, Lilo's like, well, what are you gonna do with the missile? And he's like, let's give it back to them. Cut
to the mayor's office.
Tyrannosaurus water effect.
Huh?
Cut to the doors. Boosh, everybody's coming in. Brick mansions. They just cut right. They just teleport. They bamfed right in, right up to the doors.
And then they basically got the mayor to confess that this was all part of their plan to nuke brick mansions.
Oh God, that was another wonderfully contrived scene.
I know. What...
Hey, smile for the camera, man. You see, I got my man Lee over there.
Yeah, like, hey. So he has a guy with a camcorder literally videotaping the mayor as he's basically forced into admitting that, as Paul Walker just happened to wear a wire, so he could record the audio too. And then so the mayor's the bad guy, he's ousted from power, and then the brick mansions becomes open to the public again, and everything is fine. There's literally a scene where Paul Walker is driving his car into brick mansions. He looks at the Rick Ross looking dude. Rick Ross
shoots him like a Buddy Jesus almost. You know?
Yeah, Rick Ross shoots him one of these. And you're thinking, wait, what? Rick Ross spent like half the movie trying to kill Paul Walker, and now like, hey buddy, how you
doing? School bus of children.
Yeah.
Hey.
It looks like the opening scene of Saints Row 4 when you're inside the Matrix.
I was just freaking thinking, man.
Leave it to the saints. And the most outrageous thing of all is that there are posters in the background.
A piece of resistance.
There are posters in the background that the RZA is running for mayor.
Got the stars and stripes, and you got the RZA like.
It looks like the Obama posters.
Oh God. RZA.
The RZA.
The RZA.
An arms dealer, a murderer, a drug dealer.
Admittedly,
there's proof of this. Boom, mayor. And then Paul Walker hates the RZA throughout this entire movie, but then finds out that, he never really killed his father. And now they're like best buds. And I was like, hey, he's going to make a good mayor. He's an arms dealer.
Maybe his campaign slogan was like, hey, at least I can make a mean enchilada. I don't know.
Or at the very least, at least I'm honest about the fact that I'm a crook.
Help me serve justice. Okay, there's a lot of...
Yeah, I know. But it's... Wow!
Yeah.
Like, nobody gives a shit that he did all this crap in the past, and he never comes to, like... All of a sudden, just because there's a bigger asshole out there, then he never gets any of his comeuppance.
Yeah.
That is amazing. In fact... Throughout this entire movie, there are only 2 on-screen deaths. Only 2. When the RZA shoots one of his subordinates for basically being an idiot. And when the scantily clad black chick, who was basically...
Shamelessly
torturing Lilo's ex-girlfriend. And she gets dropped off a building and then lands on a car. 2 on-screen deaths. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets a happy ending, including Rick Ross, including the RZA, everyone. And then for some reason, like, Lilo and his ex-girlfriend are back together again. That ending just came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. Well, almost out of nowhere.
Where, because the first scene in the movie is them discussing the fact that what are they going to do with brick mansions, and then, you know, the mayor says, like, don't worry, I have everyone's best interest at heart, and you're saying, okay, he's got something up.
Yeah.
At least there's that scene, but nothing.
Fuck fight scene.
No, there wasn't really a fuck fight scene. There was not a fuck fight scene.
No, come on.
That was not a fuck fight
Well, I
scene.
mean, they weren't actually fucking. It was just implied. It was shame. It was just disgustingly shameless.
Yeah, there's a scene where the black, you know, the RZA's black vixen basically has Lilo's ex-girlfriend tied to a chair, and then
There's seductive torture scenes where, you know, she doesn't actually get tortured, but
like she like
running
takes
the blade over her chest and, you know, opening her shirt up. Ooh la la, what do we have here? You know, and then she picks her lock or something. It's like click click. It's like Go back to sharp eye, pick, and then she gets up. They toss each other around, catfight, you know,
Yeah.
and then one, you know, she bends her over the table, and, you know, it's just like, bend you over the table,
Yeah, and the best part, she, like, Lilo's ex gets punched, she whips around, she grabs a cat of nine tails.
Yes! And it's
then,
like 3D effect. And then she starts whipping the cat of nine tails. It was fucking...
That was
hilarious.
It was hilariously shameless.
Yeah.
It was. What is there left to say about this movie? It was everything that it presented itself to be.
And let's say it was more.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Not a lot more, just a little more.
I think
I didn't think it was going to be that comical.
no, I guess not. So, I guess there was a sense of humor. There was somebody behind the camera who knew that this was kind of silly and stupid, and decided to embrace the fact that it was silly and stupid. And I think that's what ultimately saves this movie.
Yes.
I mean, this is reasonably the best. This is the best type. This is the best movie that it could possibly make out of this concept. Like, I can't imagine this movie being improved without changing everything fundamental about it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me point blankly, do I recommend the movie? I don't
As
know.
much as I'd recommend, you know, like Fast and Furious or something. I guess.
No. Here's the thing: like, Fast and Furious movies
Has Vin Diesel.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're a Vin Diesel fan. So.
Yeah.
I know. You don't like to admit it, but you are.
Yeah, it's guilty.
Yeah, I know. But I don't like when I look at other Paul Walker movies, especially the Fast and Furious movies. I don't really like the Fast and Furious movies because they just never had much of an appeal to me. So like, even...
I've only seen the first one, and that was when I was like 12.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe see, I can't really compare this to the Fast and Furious franchise because I haven't seen them really.
Well,
I don't know if they were comical.
I'll say this: like, as far as Fast and Furious movies are concerned, if you're going to make car porn, which they are, why in the world would you have CG cars?
Oh, really?
Well,
I did not know.
Well, I think what was it, like Fast and Furious 5 or 6 that like there were CG car scenes, like flips and such.
You get up in the numbers, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's one that kind of ruins the purpose of it being car porn.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I can't think of hey, Lamborghini, can we have this $300,000 Gallardo so we can crunch it? No.
Yeah.
No. But then again, that's what kit cars are for. That's you get the Gallardo for the shots and like the interior shots, but then you get a kit car that just looks like a Gallardo just smashing into a wall.
Yeah.
That's how you make these movies. You don't CG the fuck out of these car porn. That's like I could play Burnout if I wanted to see expensive cars crash in CG. I go to see, I see these movies because I want the experience of driving a car that I would never want to, that will never be able to drive in real life. But
You know what I'd put it?
mhm.
If you're flipping channels
Oh yeah.
and you happen to catch this movie for 20 minutes in, go ahead.
Like,
Go ahead.
this is one of those, like, if you're in a hotel room and FX, you get FX, and it's on FX, which it will be, and it's on FX,
It'll entertain you.
It'll
for a while.
entertain you, yeah. I think that's really as far as I can.
Brickhouse Mansion.
That's as far as I'm willing to extend my appraisal of
Yes.
of this movie, because it knows itself to be gloriously stupid, but it's not any more stupid than, like, say, I don't know, any Steven Seagal movie. I mean, if I wanted to see stupid, like, gut bustingly hilarious stupid action movie, I go put
This
in
is
a
not as funny as Steven
No,
Seagal.
no.
Yeah. No.
nowhere near it. And I mean, and it's because of that I can't give a more general recommendation. But this is, it's dumb but harmless. At the end of the day, it's dumb and harmless.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so not looking forward to next week.
Oh man.
Spider-Man 2. I mean, I've been hearing kind of good things about it. That's what I've been hearing, at least. But everything about the previews that I've seen just shrieks at me. Like, this is awful.
No.
This is horrible. What the fuck are you doing?
I will say this much: I'd rather see this movie than Transcendence.
Ugh. Luckily, we dodged a bullet on that one.
Yes, and oh man, we saw a better movie.
Oh god, we saw a better
But
one.
you can check that out on on the Under the Skin.
Yeah, like, if you made it this far and you haven't seen our Under the Skin vlog, make it a point to go see Under the Skin. It's in limited release.
Especially if you're a Scarlett Joe fan.
We're so in love with that movie that its review is eking out into this review.
Yep. Hey, that's always the sign of a good movie is when we're on the next review. It's also a sign of a bad movie, kind of, if we're talking about something else. But
Well, yeah, but we said our piece about.
or that one time we started talking about frickin' Cloud Atlas. That was how bad that movie was. Separation. Not Cloud Atlas, mind you. I mean, the movie that we were reviewing was so
Divergent.
bad. Divergent. We diverged so far in that review that
Yeah, like the alcohol.
we were on to 2011, I think it was.
I think that was more of the Scotch talking than anything.
Still, it was Divergent that led us to the Scotch. I blame Divergent.
So, any final thoughts other than the FX comparison?
My van.
My van. Till next time.